Oh my goodness. She is just stunning. She does not have a name yet, although that is already in the works.
Yes, you can have our cast-offs.
Our cast-offs are good. Hi everyone. Welcome back to My Lady Disdain. Since I don't need a new name, my name is still Sandy.
And my name is John.
So today we're going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to do another naming video. If you like these naming videos, please give this a thumbs up and maybe consider subscribing. We're going to be doing more of these naming videos, as well as we already have unboxings planned. But right now, this lovely lady, our brand new Genesis
2.0.
Yes. Well, she's actually the official Genesis now.
Oh, I know, but for anybody who has had any of these dolls before, there was a Genesis before. She is now Genesis Classic.
And this is Genesis, and it is Genesis in T. And this is a doll that we were waiting for from the first time we saw her picture. We didn't have any T girls, and here she is. And we have spent some time coming up with her name, which we will reveal to you at the end of the video.
So be sure to stick around for that.
We had a request, actually, to do a Genesis naming video for Cinnamon Genesis.
Yeah, at the end of each of these videos, we'll be asking for more requests for our next one. So at least a month ago or so, we did get a request specifically for Genesis.
From Nikki, who is from Summer Court Creations on Etsy. She makes beautiful clothing. And she got a Cinnamon Genesis and didn't quite know what to name her. Gave us her description. She loves adventure, hiking, and exploring.
Okay.
She loves to read about ancient culture and dreams to explore the world.
It's so funny because I think you read that to me sort of once, and I don't think we really took that into account, but it lines up with everything that we talked about when thinking of a name for our Genesis as well.
She's not shy at all. She has a dry and sarcastic sense of humor. She's bubbly and witty, but she's also very kind and loves to meet people.
Clearly the perfect woman.
She is not big into technology outside of her camera, and she loves to journal. So what we did with our Genesis is decide that she is sometimes sweet, but always badass.
Yeah, that's like the best way I could think of to say it.
And I think that that's pretty cool. And I think it does still kind of go with what Nikki was asking for.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of fantastic details in the character. I don't think we've really figured out those details for our Genesis.
No.
But we know what she could do, and especially in contrast to all the other dolls.
I think we should probably get started, right?
Yeah, so the way this is going to work, we're going to break down all the names that we got into categories, give you a few choices in each category, and then at the end, we'll tell you what name we actually picked.
And I will tell you that my personal favorite choice for Nikki's Genesis is in this list, but I don't want to say which one it is because I want her to pick and I want to see if she picks it.
And if you have a guess of which one Nikki will pick, let us know in the comments.
She may even actually have picked it already, but we're still going to have fun anyhow.
Of course.
But she I think, just got tea as well. So she
has another opportunity.
Yes. So, okay, let's go ahead and get started.
All right, our first category is Hippy Parents.
So it's basically what if Genesis had hippie parents. Okay, so what's our first name? Marley.
Oh, God, so trying to resist breaking out into song.
Okay, so there's a couple ways you can look at this. We got Bob Marley.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great reference there. And of course, from Hippy Parents, it just means a marshy meadow, like...
There's lots of beautiful wildlife in the marshes.
It's a good nature-oriented name.
Yeah. But of course, she could also be a Dickensian ghost.
That is true as well. Or two of them.
We're Marley and Marley.
Whoa!
We're Marley and Marley.
Yeah, so you got a lot of good choices all around. Literary references, musician, nature. What's next?
Briar.
Okay, so we love Briar. It has it harkens to fairy tales, but it's also a thorned shrub. So you've got that element of danger.
Yep. beautiful nature, but, watch yourself. Be careful around this.
Yep, they're a little prickly.
Yep. We really like the names that are sort of a double-edged sword, things that can be one thing and another.
A double-edged sword, also dangerous.
This is true. River!
Okay, well, I love River. River's a cool name. I mean, obviously, it's a stream of water that flows out to the sea. It gives you that whole idea of adventure and traveling and nature.
And the power of nature.
Yeah.
Rivers,
Rivers destroy things.
Yeah, so you've got that beauty and danger thing going on.
Which is always why it's an appropriate name for a character from Doctor Who.
River Song is one of the best female characters ever, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and I absolutely worship Alex Kingston as an actress. I think she is phenomenal. If you haven't seen her BBC or Masterpiece production of Moll Flanders, you really need to see it. It's really good.
And if you are a fan of River Song and Alex Kingston, she has written and is continuing to write novels about River Song, and she's doing all of the readings for the audiobooks, and it is just amazing.
So that's pretty exciting. I love the name River Song. It's very cool.
Yep.
Next.
Our next category is Wiccan.
Yeah, so maybe your parents were hippies, maybe they were Wiccans. What we did when we picked Wiccan names was we actually found some names that had sort of supernatural, mystical energy things, something that you might think of involved in spell casting, and also the relationship between humans and nature.
Right. We saw dancer and singer as names, stuff like that, to some of the names that we have here, like Ember.
Ember. We love Ember. I mean, it's not amber, it's ember. It's a spark or the smoldering remains of a fire. John, I like your idea of that as it relates to the actual Genesis.
The common thread through a lot of this stuff that we like is things that relate back to her name Genesis of the beginning, the spark of life, the creation of life, and a spark is just infinite sort of possibility of becoming fire. But you also have destruction. So there's this whole kind of cyclical nature thing happening there.
And also the fact that, I mean, it's warmth, it's light.
Yep.
They're beautiful. So, yeah, Ember.
You know what's also beautiful? Gemstones. Jade, for instance.
Jade is lovely. And if Danny ever did a green skin tone, which I believe he was working on because we've seen some behind-the-scene pictures, Jade would be a good name for that. But we liked Jade because it is a precious...
I'm having trouble hearing you.
We like Jade because it is a precious stone. And, the dolls are precious to us, and we, think that they're wonderful.
The Spanish also, thought it had mystical powers, mostly in sort of healing, intestinal issues and colicky babies. But, there's this sort of reverence and, sort of medicinal view of the stone.
And there's a cool, sleek hardness to Jade as well, but it's also very beautiful.
If you're a Star Wars fan, of course, you have Mara Jade, assassin, right hand of the Emperor, turned good, and eventually marries Luke Skywalker in the extended universe, whatever they're calling him.
Jade, it's a great name.
Yep.
Yeah. Litha.
Or Letha.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it probably is Letha. I think we decided that Litha would sound kind of cool too. So it's an actual midsummer festival for the summer at the summer solstice,
yep.
Right? Yeah, is it the midsummer festival or is it at the solstice?
Isn't that the same thing?
Is it?
Hey Siri, what is midsummer?
Midsummer is the period of time in the middle of the summer. The exact dates vary among different cultures, but is primarily held close to the summer solstice.
Ah, okay. Summer is already a smart doll, but solstice is actually a cool name for a doll too.
That's a good call.
Think about that one.
Yeah.
Solstice is cool. But anyways, Litha.
Letha.
Litha.
Man, you've added a third one now. All right.
Litha. Litha.
We should always record at 10 at night.
Letha. Pretty name. It's kind of like Lisa, but not.
I like it. I like the meaning of it.
And it's pretty written out, too.
All right, next category.
Oh. Ocean.
Ocean is cool. Again, we talked about the adventurous side, but I imagine, finding names that are, I don't know, I think of, places near the equator and like swimming in the ocean and beautiful sunsets and like very warm, sort of related names.
Yara.
This is kind of cool. I mean, this probably belongs in, with mythological stuff as well, but it's a good sounding name, and in Brazil, you've got some interesting meanings.
It's a mermaid, a siren, or a river goddess. So, the nymphs of the sea. Yara.
Next, we have my personal favorite, Zephyrine.
Yeah, this is a beautiful name.
It means west wind, which to me says everything about this doll. Like the vibe, just traveling the world. You're not going to pin her down.
Yeah, so it comes from Zephyr. And Zephyr is, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it is a sort of a strong, steady, fast wind.
Strong, steady, fast wind. Okay.
Yeah, because it's actually useful for propelling the sails of a boat.
Yep.
Yeah, so Zephyr, Zephyrine, Zephy, if you wanted to shorten it to something cute.
All a little feminine and cute for my taste.
Mm-hmm. Or Zeph. But you could also, like, we talked about saying that she says, well, yeah, my name's Zephyrine, but all my friends call me Z.
And I'm thinking, like, the letter Z. Like, it shortens it to the letter Z. But I wouldn't say Z. I mean, you could. Personally, I think she's Zed. Say it like the rest of the world does.
Yeah, Zed. That's cool. I like that. I could see it, like, emblazoned on a jacket or something like that. Yeah. Zed.
Next up is...
Ripley.
Another badass woman. With a lot of badass women in this.
So we chose Ripley because of, to put in the ocean category, because Ripley. Ripples on the water. The water is Ripley.
It's technically not the meaning of the name, but I don't care.
Yeah. Ripley was actually something like some sort of a path through the woods or something along those lines. But what we really liked it for was Sigourney Weaver's character in Aliens, Ripley. I mean, and you just don't get much more badass than that.
Oh, no. Taking down xenomorphs, handling big, gigantic weaponry, and driving mechs.
And doing it in her underwear.
Yes, she didn't do the entire thing in her underwear.
Yeah, so Ripley. We liked that one.
Next category is spice. It was sort of a literal thing to apply names based on like her skin tone, her beverage skin tone, and things like that, and sort of go food related. But I think we found a couple of fun names.
And everybody needs a little spice.
So our first name is Pepper.
So yeah, Pepper, like, could be Pepper Potts.
Yep, you could go a little Iron Man, but I think she's better than that. It's on the cute side for names, but Peppers. I mean, it literally means berries because that's literally what they are.
Yeah, they're pepper berries. And I was thinking that Pepper Berry would be a very cool, like, if you wanted to give her a last name, like if she had this really complex character and she needed a last name, she could be Pepper Berry.
Yeah, I kind of like Pepper Berry, although that is actually redundant.
Yeah, but it still sounds cool.
I know, but it's like, her name is Berry Berry. Alright, our next name is Cayenne.
Yeah, I like cayenne. It's a French very hot spice. It's very tasty. It's very warm. It invokes that whole more of an exotic feeling. Cayenne.
And this is technically not a spice, but kind of is. Chai.
Chai is spices steeped like tea.
Yeah, so, I mean, this is basically Indian tea, and it is tea, but there's spices in there, too, and it's very similar. So I like the tea reference. It's our first tea doll, so, it's not a horrible idea to name her something sort of related to that.
And, of course, also a really great name for a Chitose.
Chitose Multiverse.
Multiverse.
Has to be chai.
You could actually have, chai tea.
We've named it. I don't need to ever do a video for...
If you get yourself Chitose Multiverse, her name is officially Chai.
Done.
Yeah.
All right, next category is energy, and this is bringing us back to, yes, the sort of personality, but more so the beginning, the spark of life, and sort of the beginning of everything, and she is, as a result, full of life.
Mm-hmm. Isha. Isha is a beautiful name. I mean, it's just like the sound of it is just very lovely and pretty.
Yep.
It's a Hindi name, and it represents the female energy, which I particularly like because when I set about to do My Lady Disdain, the way I perceive it is that, that feminine energy can be very strong and very powerful. And that's one of the reasons I like Smart Doll. So it all kind of ties together. So I actually really like the name Isha and the idea that it represents the female energy or a lively woman.
Isha. Now, this is my other big favorite, Joule. Joule is a unit of measuring energy, whether it be electrical, mechanical, or thermal. It literally is about energy and essentially what is life. I know you were thinking some variations that you might do on this.
Yeah, you could do Jules. Mm-hmm. You could pluralize it because like Jules is a shortening of Julia.
You want to go cuter? You could go Julie.
Yep, Julie would be very cute. You could actually change it to the spelling Jewel, like the singer Jewel. So there's a lot of opportunities with this name, but I really like Jewel.
This was a strong contender for me. I know it was lower on your list than it was on mine, but
yeah.
So it didn't make it quite to the end. But...
So we're giving it to you guys.
Yep, please use. Last, of course, is Sonona.
Sonona is Spanish for lively. I mean, if you were going to go with something with a more Spanish flair, you could go with Sonona. It would give it a nice sort of Mediterranean flair.
It has a good sound to the vowels. You got that longer O in the middle. It's nice to say. All right, next category.
Travel. So this kind of ties in with Nikki's request, and it was something that we thought was kind of a cool area to approach. Yeah. We have, so travel, you're going to different destinations, you're doing it in different ways, and that's where we got these names from.
Brooklyn.
I mean, it's a borough of New York City, and it is, the Brooklyn attitude is kind of notorious.
Yeah, the name itself just has two. This was a very, very strong contender for us.
Yeah, it made it very close to the end. It's kind of badass. It has a very grounded sort of vibe to it.
You got an urban, sort of feel.
A grittiness.
If you wanted to maybe shift away from city and get, more into, I don't know, the old world, perhaps, you might call her Sicily is neat because, it's a large island off of Italy, so you get that warm vibe to it, and, as a travel destination, photography, taking pictures, but it also, to me, one of my favorite old-fashioned names is Cecily, and I liked Sicily as a nice twist on that. Yeah, taking a classic name and twisting it a little bit. I mean, everyone's doing that these days, right? People are naming their babies. They're like, how can I take John and make it new? You can't, by the way, because it's just Jin. It would be DJIN. That would be the new version of John. I'm a genie. Yeah, and if I wish for a new smart doll, I usually get one. If she rubs me right. I'm a genie in a bottle, baby. Gotta rub me the right way, honey. Moving on. We're recording very late. So what's next? All right, our last name in this category is a little bit of a twist. Harley. Yeah, so now I'm not talking places, but we're talking... how you get there. Yeah. And, what's got a more of a, journeying type feel than a Harley motorcycle? And it's badass. Yeah. It's vibe, leather, crazy. Mm-hmm. You see a beautiful woman pulling up on a motorcycle, and I think there's part of that imagery is, that... sexy woman, but harnessing something powerful, kind of dichotomy. Yeah. A lot of horsepower between her legs, kind of thing. Okay, yes, I guess. Yeah, no, I picture this girl getting off of her motorcycle and going in and getting a shot of whiskey and, Totally. She definitely drinks whiskey. Everybody in the bar turns and looks at her. But it belongs also in the nature category because it is Old English for a hare's meadow. Next. Mythology.
Mythology is one of my favorite things of all time. And there's some beautiful names that come out of mythology.
And the best part about the names, they just are preloaded with story.
Yeah, like rich characters and, like that have done dramatic things.
Yeah, it's a great place to draw from. And like I said, I love story. I love creating story, and to have that well to draw upon for your character, it's really cool. So our first one is a shoe. Sorry.
Well, is she supposed to be because she's sneaky?
Is that why it's called a sneaker?
So Nike is the name of a shoe company, but it is also the Greek goddess of victory.
Which is what the company is named for.
Yeah. But if you were going to go with the actual pronunciation of the Greek goddess name, to the best of our knowledge, it is pronounced Nike, which I think is much more lovely and exotic sounding. Nike just is a sneaker.
And that's why I put the more phonetic spelling here with the accents.
You're the one that's going to be saying the name, and if you say her name as Nike, she is Nike. So, Greek goddess of victory. I mean, that's strong and beautiful and powerful. Nike.
Oh, yeah.
Electra. Electra was the daughter of Agamemnon and Clytemnestra, and she plots with Orestes to
brother.
Yeah, to kill her mother, Clytemnestra.
It's very Greek.
It's very Greek, yes. So very, dangerous, diabolical almost,
Yep.
but still beautiful.
I'm sure there's also some horrible things that happened to her. If I can't remember, though.
Yeah.
And just by itself, forget the background. It's a good sounding name. Like, you've got, you've got the electricity sort of component. You've got the nice hard consonant sounds, which are really create that more somewhat masculine but very just powerful sound.
Yeah, and then of course you've got the Marvel character, the paramour and nemesis of Daredevil.
Yeah, depending on the week, I guess.
Yeah, and you can't get much more badass than that.
She does look a little bit like Jennifer Garner.
No, not really.
No.
Yeah, I mean, she could totally be Elektra.
It would be a good cosplay.
Yeah, let's think about that one. That'd be kind of fun. Next.
Saga. I just love this name because it just says it all to me. Like, it's a little odd, the G sound, Saga, for a girl, but you've got the name of a Norse god and just the fact that this is an epic tale.
Yeah.
Like, she is the embodiment.
Epic story.
Yep.
Yeah, so it usually involves some sort of, obviously conflict, travel, journey of some kind. And then, of course, it's a Japanese restaurant around here.
Please tell me, anybody, if you name your doll Saga because of the Japanese restaurant. All right, next category is badass women.
And looking at the slide, you're going to see pictures of video game characters. And, of course, all of those names would make excellent characters. I mean, we considered Aloy as a possibility.
Do you want me to just skip the other slides then?
No, because we didn't use any of them.
Oh, okay.
So we have slides that are other names.
Yeah, actual badass women.
Real badass women.
Let's start with a modern day badass woman, Misty Copeland.
Yeah, Misty Copeland. She's an African-American ballet prodigy. She was the first African-American woman to be a principal dancer for the American Ballet Theater. That in itself, pushing through that barrier is huge. And she did it because she is just immensely talented. And of course, she's a ballet dancer. How strong is that?
Yeah.
Strong and beautiful.
Both in terms of race and gender. They talk about having to work twice as hard to get half as far, right? The idea of being principal dancer, that is a ridiculously difficult thing to become, especially in a big company like that. But to do that as an African-American woman...
when the stereotypical image of the ballerina is not a woman of color. You think like Degas and stuff like that. You don't picture the stereotypical image of a ballerina, but she is changing that, and that is amazing. And this name works for any Genesis beverage, but I mean, if you actually also had a Cocoa Genesis, if you're lucky enough to have a Cocoa Genesis, Misty is a fabulous name.
Misty does have that cute, more feminine sound to it, and the badassness kind of relies more on the connection to Misty Copeland.
Right. Whereas I personally, although it wasn't really John's choice, I said, what about Copeland?
Last names do work well as first names.
Yeah, and I mean, it sounds strong, it sounds resourceful, self-assured. Copeland. That's personally, I actually like that, I think, better than Misty.
I just don't really like Cope. The sound of the actual letters and how they feel coming out of my lips, not as big of a fan as I am with, like, Misty.
Okay. Next.
Amelia Earhart. I mean...
Amelia. And to me, she actually kind of looks like Amelia from Grey's Anatomy a little bit. So I thought that was kind of cool. And then you've got Amy, Melly. You know, there's a lot of different ways you can shorten up Amelia. She was an American aviation pioneer.
If you want an adventurer, if you want,
Amelia Earhart is that.
The epitome of that, and the epitome of that as a woman.
Yeah, I actually really like it because it was my first time dressing up in a costume for like an oral presentation in school.
Did you have like goggles and stuff? Like,
I didn't have goggles. This was in the 70s, so my mom had a wine-colored leather, like, hip-length driving jacket, and it had, like, a fur collar and a belt, and then I wore a scarf, and I remember I had on, like, some tall boots and pants, and, yeah, I was, like, I think I must have been, like, 7 or 8, and I had to do this, like, oral presentation book report thing, and we had to dress up as the person we did the report on, and, yeah, I chose Amelia Earhart, and that was so... I guess that was my first cosplay.
That's amazing.
Next.
Janis Joplin.
Yeah, I mean, come on with the badass.
Yeah. You cannot get more badass woman than Janis Joplin.
I mean, a third woman who broke a lot of barriers. She was not stereotypical as a musician of her time. Her voice was different. She had a really different sound.
Oh yeah, she didn't sing like a girl. Like,
yeah. She wasn't like gorgeous, like stereotypical pretty. She was just cool and owned who she was. Now Janis, meh, but Joplin,
fantastic name.
Yeah, she was a 1960s American singer-songwriter. Just very much known for being a rebel. Came up with some amazing songs. Her songs like, Piece of My Heart, Me and Bobby McGee. She knew who she was. She didn't care what anybody thought. Janis Joplin.
Fantastic choice. Mm-hmm. That is the end of our name suggestions. So we hope you liked it. We'll see you next week. And yeah, I know. We're supposed to actually tell you her name.
Yeah, we were supposed to tell you her name. We did not choose any of the names that we gave to you.
Yeah, I think we found a name that has some good balance to it in terms of the sweetness that we talked about, but the badassness, a little sass in there. This name would do well for a character who we described her like as a grease monkey kind of thing. Yeah. But this could be a flapper girl as well.
Sure, like with the long eyelashes and this sparkly dress and being all kinds of sassy and cute. Yeah.
Genesis's name is
Roxy.
Roxanne.
So we've got Did you really just do that? So, Roxy, which is, it's from the Persian for dawn.
And it's funny that we ended up sort of going full circle back to our original thoughts, which was what names associate with Genesis. So now we actually have a name that both is her personality and means dawn. It's the beginning. It's Genesis. Yeah. So it all works together.
So it all comes back around full circle. So Roxy, which is like this cool, spunky name, or Roxanne for the more womanly, elegant, beautiful, sexy vibe. Because she is obviously all of those things.
And does not care what you think.
Yeah.
Look at that. You're so bored right now.
Yeah, she is really bored. Yeah, she's doing that whole relaxing, kicking her shoe off of her foot thing, and and yeah, no, she's done.
But yeah, thanks for joining us today. If you want to keep up to date with my... What?
Are we going to talk about what's in the box?
Oh, we can talk about it, absolutely. The cardboard is very sturdy.
We're not going to open it?
No. Next week. You'll see what's inside that box on next week's episode. Sandy will see what's inside that box when we record it, which is not tonight. We are not doing that tonight.
I thought we were going to open it and record it, and then we were just going to give it to them for next week.
These are the stories you tell yourself, but it doesn't make them true.
Okay, well now I just need to buy another one that I can open.
You're not going to get it in time.
But for now, Genesis and T just got a restock.
Yeah, which by the time this airs, may be gone.
Yeah, she may be gone again. She's already had 2 restocks,
Yep.
so and this is the 3rd.
Yeah, she is a popular girl,
And-
which means you should tell everyone you know about this video to help them name their new Genesis doll.
Yeah, and maybe John will take some pictures and you can send them to his Instagram, which is...
They will send it to my Instagram. If you want to see some of those pictures that I'm going to be taking of Roxy, you can check out my Instagram at SmartDollFolio and all my other pictures of the clan. God, it's a clan now.
It really is a clan. And if you want to know more about what's going on with me, my sewing projects, collaborations, etc., you can follow me at My Lady Disdain with underscores. So from me and Roxy and John, we will see you again soon, and thanks for watching.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Jazz hands.
Spirit fingers.